I don't know what I'm going to name this one. So just bear with me. Bear with me here. I spoke many times before about how, to me, the Caucasian is at war with himself. That society is changing, and that if he can't maintain control of it the way he wishes, then he'll destroy it. This morning I was getting ready to go to work, and I heard on Young Turks, they were talking. It was an older video. They were talking about how Pence had come out and said that, okay, climate change, people will adjust to it. People will get used to it. People will move. And it's like everything with Trump. He came in as this friend to the worker and all this stuff. But really looking at Trump, they're friends to the rich and no one else. And that's clear. It's kind of like when they had the 31-day government shutdown. And you able in the government actually say, well, why don't they just get loans from banks? Everybody can't get loans. Everybody ain't got optimal credit. Some folks talking about 80% interest and all this. Man, everybody can't do that. And I think Trump said something about one of them old white men. That's what I'm always call them, because I don't remember all the names. A lot of those guys don't even work for Trump no more. Ain't even in the White House no more. They're like puppets. Trump uses them and throws them away, and uses them and throws them away. You know what I mean? It's like puppets in a box. And once he throws them away, you don't see that puppet again. It's like women that wear them fancy dresses to like Grammys and shit. They don't wear them dresses again after they get done. You see it that one night, and that's it. That $1,000 dress. More than $1,000. I think Trump was talking about how he was sure that stores would work with the federal workers, and I'm sitting up here like, what? And then they came out and said the federal workers should ask their landlords, can they do a little extra work around there, like cutting grass and shit, like chores. And I'm like, so you're telling me, I didn't finish my college degree. I didn't. So you're telling me there's a guy right now with a master's in criminology, a master's, probably working on a master's in political science or sociology or something. And you're telling me this man did all of that to wind up cutting grass for his landlord and sweeping up. Really? That's you know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that. It really shows you that America ain't shit, man. Like, out of all legitimacy and shit, I'm starting to think that I talk about Trump being a racist, but really what Trump is doing is he's just removing the veneer of what America always was. I used to say he's legitimizing racism. I don't even believe that no more. I don't. I don't even. I think that he is just showing you what America always was, and that's what it is. He's just showing you that's what we were always like this. We were always as racist as like this. But and it's a class statement. Like I said, everybody can't get loans. I'm trying to think of what stores in the last 20 years would work with you. That don't exist. That didn't exist in the 80s. I don't think. Let's talk about companies. What store is he talking about where they work with you to the next payday? You know how the money you don't buy. So that's class. Those are two class statements. I don't know if you say the second one's a class statement. This is another example of rich old white men just living 20 years in the past and just totally out of touch with reality for most people. So that class, okay, whatever. I don't really call that. I call that just naivete, and I call that an arrogance where I don't have to learn how most people live. I don't care how most people. I don't care what Tyrone Jamal from Newark. I don't care how he lives. I don't care about anybody like that. That's what that is. This comment Pence made about how people will move on after climate change. First of all, I don't see climate change as like my brother does, like something will happen in the future. I see it every day. You know, it's in plants growing earlier and earlier and earlier, and seasons changing, and things getting the weather getting hotter earlier, or the weather getting colder. That's climate change. Stronger storms. That's climate change. You know what I mean? And heavier body counts, and heavier the amount of property damage as well. That's climate change. That's me, what I see climate change to be. It isn't like January the 3rd, 2047. No, I don't see it like that. And hopefully it doesn't become abrupt. Because I've read about that too. Hopefully it doesn't happen. You know, and I it's like survivalism. One thing I try to get y'all to understand is, even if I'm a crazy nut and I'm wrong, it doesn't have to be everything I say it is to be a disaster. One thing trucking taught me is it's a very fragile food network we have in this country. Very fragile. Climate change makes it that much more fragile. But it's a very fragile food network. And if you raise the water, man, certain areas are already underwater. You know what I mean? There's certain areas, we saw these signs that say beware of flooding and stuff. There's interstates that say that. That's not going to get worse. You know, what do you do? I think I was in Memphis one time, and the interstate almost flooded. People were trying to get around it. I think I was the only one that called 911. Because I was like, oh my God, you know, so much water out there. People were coming down, the ramp was flooded. You know? I got off subject there. I just, I think that a lot of this is class statements. And Trump doesn't even pretend to be a friend to the worker. Which, see, that's why, okay, Young Turks was talking about, no, I'm sorry. It was the dude on MSNBC, I forgot his guy's name. He's married to that Mila woman. He's talking about how he meets people who supported Trump. They're like, yeah, I support him even more now. But they hate what he says. Yeah, because they know that he's immoral. The things he says are immoral. And I think that's how fascism really works. If I was to tell my children, it's something that you agree with somebody, what they want, what they say, and you're such a racist. You believe in it so much that you're willing to really ignore anything they say or do. I think that's what that is. I think that's really what Trump supporters are, and that's what that those kind of statements really mean. Is that you know, and that's why I'm kind of glad he's an ignoramus. I'm kind of glad that Trump is just so ignorant and just so arrogant and just so dumbed down to where I'm hearing like he'll make an order and it doesn't get passed on. People just ignore it. I'm kind of glad, because it's like he's like an old man that wants to run a company the way it was run in the 50s. And if they did that, the company would be sued. Like, you know, talking about gay people and Jews and women and blacks. You couldn't do that. And they know it. And so the people around him are like, yeah, he still runs it in name only. And they might show him, he might come to the warehouse and they'll do a little interview with him or have him talk about his goals. And they'll cut it up. But they're not going to have him out there they're not going to have him out there leading, like being the public face. Hell no. If they're smart, they won't. And that's kind of how I see Trump, you know. They love him for his arrogance, his lack of... And I think it's also that you have white people who want to be like Trump. He's like a superhero to racists, because there's a lot of... Let's be honest. There's a lot of white folks that can't and would never do a Charlottesville type event. They would never do that. They would never do it. Because they're going to lose everything. They have too much to lose. They have friends. They're in the closet. I think there's a lot. We have to understand that. There's a lot of those kind of people out here. I think people out there marching loud in white trash. Survivalist boards type people. They're ready to start a race war, civil war, whatever. And they need to wake up and realize that the country has changed. getting off subject. So this statement about moving climate change is bullshit. And he's not, once again, he's not talking to you and me. He's talking to the rich. He's talking about the rich, excuse me. Because it's my question to you. If you're living, I think of my friend Giselle, if you're living and God forbid the water rises, sea level, I mean, it's not minor flooding, sea level rise happens. And you fucking, your house is ruined, fungus and all that. Who's gonna buy your house? Or it's just a lot of, not even your house gets damaged, it's a lot of water on the property, and they're like, that's the new norm, that, the water level's risen. Who's gonna buy your property? What does that do to your property value? Then people I live on the coast, I don't really care about them no more. There was a lady, I think it was Florence, that was talking about how there's strength in numbers and she's gonna stay down there with her kids. See, those are Trump supporter type people. They have something to prove. Everything they have something to prove. I'm not gonna run. You're gonna die. I've always wondered if that woman and her children survived. Her dumb ass survived. Probably did. Those kind of people, I'm not talking about those kind of people. They're not going to move. They like the idea of being warlords and running around with AKs and ARs and body armor. And they're mass shooters, at any moment. Those kind of people. I'm not talking about them. And I'm not talking about survivalists. Survivalists and preparators is somebody that is like me. They're keeping aware of this thing on point. They're planning, preparing. What she was saying is an arrogance. I'm not going to die for no property. I'm not going to die for this apartment. No. That ain't happening. If I have a chance to. And she had a chance to. But that's his kind of supporters. Oh, ain't that bad. Ain't gonna be that shit. And they said when Florence touched ground, it actually got stronger. It just stayed around that little area right there, around Wilmington and all that shit. You wanna fuck with that? Be my guest. You crackers, man. I think Trump kind of straddles a fence between saying that, climate change isn't real when most of the world recognizes it is, the Pentagon recognizes it is, the military's made steps to recognize it is. Not a security issue, which is basically an issue to the Capitol. And so what happens is it's very clear what happens. I just sometimes I think to myself, well, let me go a little further if I get into my opinion. I want to stop doing that. Get the story out. Opinion. So now they're saying that they won't even look more than 20 years into the future at climate change. And I guess it's because of the things that Trump is doing with the environment, allowing rocket fuel. I think he's gonna destroy the rule against using a lot of rocket fuel. Rocket fuel gets into the water and does thyroid damage. And I think that he recognized that's bad. It's gonna do a lot of damage. So he's like, we're not even gonna look at it too far ahead. Now, think about cigarette smoking. Think about all the little diseases and stuff that we've had in the past, where you had to look 20 years in the future, 10 years in the future to understand that. Look at, what's that shit called? Not foot and mouth. The cattle disease, mad cow disease. Look at that. That's 30 years in the future, 20 years, one of the two. Makes you go insane. So I just look at Trump and it's all class. And I wish the conservatives kind of would get that Trump don't care about you, man. It'd be one thing if he cared about you. He don't care about you. And that's the ones that are waking up. They realize that not that they don't like him. It's that he's a bastard. He's a user. But when I look at this, them talking about releasing all the guidelines on rocket fuel, We're gonna not look more than 20 years into the future on climate change. So the next generation is basically fucked. Well, no, I'm sorry. This generation is basically fucked. The one, was it X? X, I think, or Z wanted to do. What else? I'm trying to remember. Just all that. You're basically fucked. And it makes me, I've said a while back that the Caucasians at war with his own people. It makes me think right now that they're not even on that payback shit no more. White people are on the point to where it's like, we're going to just live it up and we're going to enjoy the last days of America, and we're going to be as racist and nasty and bigoted and what's that word? Basically being disrespectful to women, like kind of like racism, bigoted to women almost, misogynistic. We're going to be all that as far as we can, as long as we can. I've been saying it for a long time. The white people are right now, they're fighting for the right to be racist. When I see Blue Lives Matter and White Lives Matter and all that, you're basically telling me you're fighting for the right to be racist, because white lives always matter. When did white lives stop mattering? I'm confused by that one. My book, White Lives Matter, since 1976. Yeah. Slavery, the smallpox blankets, the Trail of Tears, the massage, Jim Crow and Jane Crow, the black codes, the same thing. What's the law they came up with right after slavery to put your ass back in prison? That's the convict something program. All that stuff, you know. It did to keep us down and an oppressed state. But I'm getting off subject. My thing is I think they're basically saying fuck you to their children. The mass shooters. You know? Another great example of what I'm talking about. These mass shooters. It's almost like, you know, Texas has done nothing since Parkland. Let me start there. Texas has not done it. They tried to pass one little bill on gun safety at home. They couldn't even pass that. They've done nothing. Not a damn thing. And that's sad. It's really sad for them kids. They died in vain. It's almost kind of like they died like me dropping some change on the ground. That's what their lives meant. I may pick it up, depending on how much change it is. If it's a couple quarters, I might. But if it's in pennies or dimes, the fuck. And I'm not going to be like, ooh, well, damn, I better not do that again. No, but like, drop some change. You know, as long as I ain't dropped it in front of nobody or you know, done it in a disrespectful manner, it's like, who cares? That's how those children's lives are. And we have to start realizing that if we ought to really look at Donald Trump realistically, we have to start recognizing our lives don't matter. I tell black folks all the time, black people, your life don't matter. It don't. Not, and this is the only time black lives matter is when it's time to count a vote, pay your taxes, or go fight in their wars. That's it, man. Other than that, your life doesn't matter. And Trump is showing you that now. They're showing you that now. Your life doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Talking about throw the thugs in the car and all. This isn't even really like hidden. He's not even really like hiding his shit, man. And I think that's kind of what maybe makes some of his supporters kind of like, because he's a bastard. And that's what vampires do. They've got to show you they're wicked. They can't just let me in and bust in the window. They have to show you, I'm a bastard. I'm an evil guy, man. I'm really an evil, fucked up individual. Please let me in the house. And then if you invite them in, well, you reap the consequences. That's the consequences of the choices that you made. You know, you didn't have to let them in. You didn't put a gun. You didn't put no gun. Let me in this motherfucker house. He ain't busting the back window with a bat at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, so this is I look at Trump and I think they have no love even for their own children now. And it used to kind of make me nervous. I think probably it should make you nervous that they don't even have love for their own people. Their love is waxing colder and colder. Peace, y'all.